this is Pablo Hidalgo from Lucasfilm, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z, or Zed for Canadian and British listeners. This is the podcast you're looking for.
Easy for you to say, Captain. There's a fortune to be had, plundering the hyperspace lanes.
Commander, your hit-and-run operations are gaining too much notice.
They're already getting sick of this new republic and its rules and regulations.
And if we give them a show of strength, they will rally behind us.
Yes.
But that strength must not be wasted.
I really wanted to do something larger than life.
This is Vanessa Marshall, Harrison Dula from Star Wars Rebels, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi.
It's an absolute pleasure and delight to have on Coffee with Kenobi one of the stars of The Mandalorian and Grogu. You know him as Lord Janu, but he is in fact Jonny Coyne. Jonny, welcome to Coffee with Kenobi.
Hello there.
It's so nice to have you on the show. You have had a prolific career in the world of acting and performance. If you would, share with us your story about how you came into the world of acting.
Oh, well, it's a long story. I'll try and cut it down to an absolute minimum. I was always into the drama club at school and things like that. And I had a mentor, my friend, my mentor, Robert Tanage, who was my English teacher. He was also a well-known playwright as well as a teacher and a theatre critic and all that stuff. And he decided to put on a production, a joint production of a double production of the Chariots of the Sun by Ovid and the Ballad of Reading Gaol by Oscar Wilde, and basically it was a two-parter, two halves, and I played the lead in both of them. So I was kind of I was hooked by then, really. And I asked him at the end of that whether he'd help me get into drama school, and he said, "Well, if you're still interested in 3 years, let me know, and I'll help you then. But I'm not going to just help you now. I think it's a miserable life. Just take your time." And 3 years later, I went back and said, "Could you help me get into drama school, please?" And he said, "Yeah," and he did. And he's 94 now, and instilling good health, and still kicking.
Marvelous. That's so cool. It's something that grabbed onto you at a young age. Were there certain performances or roles that you thought, this is why I want to do this?
No, it's just at that stage, it's just showing off. It's being center of attention at that stage. There's no sort of want to excavate some character out of myself. No, it was just showing off and making people laugh, as I think most of us got into that business because of that, and making our mothers laugh. A lot of it, we made our mothers laugh, and that's a drug you can't get enough of, really, and you want some more of that. So I think that we all fall into that. I'm sure most of us fall into it by making our loved ones laugh, and that's where we start.
I can absolutely attest to this, both as an educator and as a father of three. Making your family laugh, making those under your steed laugh is definitely its own wonderful reward.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So, in addition to making people laugh, you've also made a lot of people smile over the years with your performances. That brings us, of course, to The Mandalorian and Grogu. Yep. Talk to us about how you learned of the role. Of course, you had been in The Mandalorian for season 3, but had you always been a Star Wars fan?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I was there at the beginning when they did the whole, when there was the queues around the corner, around the block. That was an extraordinary time, and I was young. I was actually 18, 19, probably too old to be sort of really into it like that. But that's when I got hooked onto the Star Wars story, and of course the first three are my generation, really. So yeah, I was always a Star Wars fan. And a friend of mine said to me, "You should be in the Mandalorian." I said, "Well, you're not casting director. You can't do anything about it." And he says, "No, I think you should be in. I think you should be in it." And next thing I know, I get offered a job to be in the Mandalorian for 4 episodes. And of course, we know that the season 4 didn't happen, and it became a movie. And again, that was just that was happenstance, really.
Marvelous. Was there something unique about preparing for this role that was different from other things you'd done in the past?
Yeah, I mean, there's a part of you that sort of is mentally prepared about the what is expected of a Star Wars story and a character within that. I kind of didn't do a lot of sort of research in terms of what's this guy eat for breakfast or anything like that. I don't know what he has for breakfast, but you know, you kind of let somebody like Jon Favreau, who's your director in this, who knows the world better than you, to guide you as to where you ought to go with this. So there's very little fighting back. I mean, there's no point me saying, "Oh, but I'd really like him to be like this." There's no point. He has the story in his head. He's giving you the job. He kind of wants to get that from you. So you leave it, put it firmly in his hands, really. And they're very gentle hands, and guides you, and it's great.
He definitely has a reputation for being excellent with actors,
Yeah.
a very visual storyteller. How does that come into play when you're interacting with so many incredible special effects?
Well, I had to work with those wonderful creatures, both the parrot and the and Grogu himself, and so they're amazing to work with, and the people who run them, who they're, I don't know what you call them, the controllers, they're animators, whatever. They are incredibly talented people, you know, and they're always on the job. You know, even between shots when nobody's looking, you might turn to the parrot, you might sort of give it a little tweak, and it'll flutter and it'll work, and they're never off it. They're always on it, and it's wonderful to be working with these kind of people. So from that, I had that, and I had a lot of green screen. Of course, we don't know what happens with the green screen because it's just a green sheets behind us. So working with that effect is you only see the results of that on the day, and then things like the speeder. You know, it's old school. It was a variation of things. You know, it was animation, there was green screen, there was the volume, and of course there was old school movie making. So when you're in the speeder, you're not really floating, unfortunately. And I really would have liked to have been floating in the hovering through the sand, but it's just 4 burly guys moving you with logs.
Probably wouldn't sell as many action figures that way.
No, exactly.
I've often wondered about what is it about Jon Favreau specifically that makes him so perfect, not only for this, but just to help get the performance out of you that he did. Because obviously there are different things at play, but he has his own skill set that others maybe would have a different proclivity towards.
Well, he's an actor, and he's a really good actor. I mean, a really, really good actor, a brilliant, funny actor. And so he knows what an actor needs. So he knows what was required. He knows what he needs to give to his actors. And we're all sort of shrinking violets, aren't we? And we have an idea of what we want to do, but it's best left to him to decide, to guide you, really. Yeah, he's wonderful with actors. All I know is that John looked after me right through the shoot, and he said he would as well. I mean, when we had I had a Zoom call with him. I was in London, he was in LA, and he was telling me about what he wanted to do with the character, and showed me sort of screenshots of what our set would look like and everything. And I said to him, "Listen, you know, I mean, I'm very broad. I have gargoyle-like sort of animation about my face. Please tell me when I'm doing too much, because my eyeballs will go everywhere. And he said, don't worry, I'll look after you. And he did. He was true to his word. He looked after me and made sure I contained everything and made it as realistic as possible.
Wonderful. Well, when the character is being created, Lord Jonny Coyne is spelled differently than your surname, but was that surely was not a coincidence?
It's not a coincidence. No. What happened was that I remember when my very, very, very first meeting with John, when we were actually shooting the Shadow Council, or rather, we were dressed in the outfits as a sort of to show what the costumes would be like the Shadow Council. I did actually shoot on the day because I was sick and I had to sort of go and shoot it on a pickup. But I remember him telling me that he had a lot of things in mind for me, and he said, "But we kind of want to use your name." I said, "Oh, okay, that's fine," And he said it's probably going to be something like Commander Coyne or something. And it was interesting because when I first moved out here, I had got a group of American friends, and they all had nicknames for each other. And my nickname from them was Commander Coyne. I don't know what authority figure they saw in me, but I was Commander Coyne. So I thought, this is going to be great. That I'm going to be Commander Coyne, and they're going to see me as Commander Coyne, what they've always called me. But the Jonny Coyne part, I didn't know about until I saw the contract.
Wow, what a unique thrill, because there's certainly been a lot of actors in the world of Star Wars, but you, my friend, may have the title for naming rights. What a glorious thing. I want to ask you, before we started chatting, we spoke about, I, of course, brought my son Mason, as people who listen to Coffee with Kenobi know, to the premiere. You had a very fun, interesting experience with family.
But when my grandson saw it with me in London, there was me and my son was there, and I had to keep the volume down. And while he was watching it, I was recording him watching it to see what his reaction would be like. And rather than being excited by it all and going, what, he was just utterly confused and bemused. And he was like 4 years old. Of course he is. He's 4 years old. What else is he going to think? Why is Granddad up there? I don't get this.
The hype, the anticipation for any Star Wars movie is always such a gargantuan encounter. What has that process been like?
Well, I haven't been part of it, to be honest with you. I mean, I think they've kept it to the real stars of the show, which is Pedro and Sigourney, the big name stars. Of course, there are other stars in the show, like Brendan Wayne, who is the Mandalorian for a greater part of the time, which is why Pedro insisted that he gets a full credit, his third credit on the movie, and as does Lateef Crowder. Lateef is the guy who does all the ass kicking in the movie, and he gets fourth credit.
Lord Jonny, what makes Lord Jonny tick? Is it simply the credits? What is it that makes him such a dangerous villain?
I wish we'd seen a little bit more of the danger. He's pretty dangerous. I think, like most of these guys, he doesn't do anything apart from give the orders and have expectations of people. What makes him tick? I think it's the power of it all. I mean, you don't join the Empire without officially the evil empire, without having some sort of evilness about you. But there's on the side, he has this greedy side of him, which is running these giant Thunderdome time-killing places. So that's where he makes his living and money, and he hides in plain sight.
He absolutely does. The sets themselves, when your first appearance is a really dramatic scene, one of the great fight scenes in the film. You're sort of in your own secret chambers, but the sets, they must have been gorgeous. They sure look great on film.
They were real. They're totally real sets, solid sets, both inside and out. Actually, that particular set, they built it on the inside beautifully, and they built it on the outside equally as beautifully, because it was used as the Mandalorian walks into the place, and it's solid all the way around. That's a real joy, to work on a set that isn't just flat backs on the back behind, you know what I mean, with bits of cardboard sticking out, and it felt solid and real, and it felt like a real bar, and it felt like a real office. So no, it's nice to have nice to work with solid stuff, because I'm not sure how well I would have worked under the whole volume thing.
Right, it has to affect the performance in some way to have something to interact with.
Yeah, absolutely, and somewhere properly to sit, and the furniture, although exotic and amazing to look at, I mean, up close, it had some amazing features like heads on either side. I don't know if you ever saw them, and the legs were just exotic and big.
Well, friends, unfortunately, my conversation with Jonny got cut short. Power actually went out in my studio, and I wasn't able to continue the conversation. I was able to talk with Jonny, though, and thank him so much for his time. What an awesome guy. What an incredibly generous actor and person, and I really enjoyed my time with him. I hope you enjoyed it as well.
Listening to Coffee with Kenobi, you are, with Dan Z, the podcast you're looking for. This is...
So it looks like our journey through the galaxy for today has come to a close. Thanks for listening to and supporting Coffee with Kenobi, where fans can come together to think, learn, and discuss this galaxy we all love. I'm truly grateful you chose to spend part of your day with me. A very special thank you to our official travel partner, MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. Looking to plan your next magical vacation to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, or even a Disney cruise? Want to explore Galaxy's Edge or attend Star Wars Celebration? Becky Mankin and her team will get you there with a no-cost, no obligation quote, and the kind of peace of mind we all appreciate. Learn more at coffeewithkenobi.com/mousefantravel. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share the show with your fellow Star Wars friends. You can find us on social media or visit coffeewithkenobi.com for articles, merch, and more ways to connect. Until next time, I'm Dan Zaire, and this is the podcast you're looking for. For all things Star Wars, news, reviews, videos, and more, head to our home base, coffeewithkenobi.com. Don't forget to join the CWK Cafe on Facebook at coffeewithkenobi.com/community, our family-friendly, spoiler-free group for all your Star Wars thoughts, comments, and conversation. This podcast is possible thanks to the incredible support of the CWK Alliance. Want to help keep the show brewing? For as little as $1 a month, you can join the CWK Alliance and get access to CWK Pour-Over, our exclusive weekly audio and video podcast. Learn more at coffeewithkenobi.com/CWK Alliance. And know this, 10% of your monthly contributions goes directly to the St. Jude Children's Hospital. Want to connect? You can email me at danz@coffeewithkenobi.com. Follow me on X at Mr. Zaire, MRZEHR, Instagram, Threads, at DanZaireCWK, and Blue Sky. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can follow Coffee with Kenobi across social media on X, Instagram, Threads, Pinterest, and Blue Sky, and give us a like on Facebook at facebook.com/coffeewithkenobi. And if you want to send an email to the show, you can email us feedback at coffeewithkenobi.com. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you'll find over 700 videos, including past live shows, events, and this podcast. Please take a moment to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It really helps more Star Wars fans find our little corner of the galaxy. Do you need a speaker for your next event? Visit danzmedia.com. I love to discuss mythology, leadership, storytelling, or create something tailored to your audience. And finally, grab your CWK gear at coffeewithkenobi.com/shop and show your support in style.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.